Okay friends, now we are going to talk about the sulfur cycle and the role of microorganisms in contributing in this sulfur cycle. Now again, the schematic diagram, as we can see in this picture, let me first illustrate that this yellow colored line suggests us the oxidation steps, and the red colored line suggests us the reduction steps, because we are talking about we are focusing about the oxidation and reduction steps that are being carried out throughout this process. And we can see most of this portion are being carried out through the reduction procedure, because the only thing which is happen via the oxidation step is the production of sulfur, production of inorganic sulfur from the sulfide compounds like hydrogen sulfide. Now in the upper place we are talking about the oxic process, or the process where we need oxygen, or the process which is being done on the presence of oxygen, and the below portion will be carried out on the absence of oxygen. That's why it is called the anoxic process. Now if I look before going to look into this cycle of sulfur or sulfur cycle, we need to talk about some of the steps or key steps that has been carried out into this cycle. Now the first thing we have talked about is the called sulfur oxidation. Now the most important thing you must know before look into the sulfur cycle is the valency of sulfur in different state. Now as we know, this is this H2S or hydrogen sulfide. This is what we know is the most reduced form of the sulfur, and SO4 2 minus is the most oxidized form of the sulfur. So sulfur can exist from these two terminal places. Okay, so in this H2S the most reduced, in this SO4 2 minus it is most oxidized, and in between step is the inorganic sulfur, which is sulfur over sulfur 0. Now let us begin for which is called the sulfur oxidation. So the sulfur oxidation means we have to carry out the journey from sulfur dioxide, which as we know, we can find sulfur in the environment most of the part as this inorganic compound of sulfur or sulfate as sulfates. So we are having this H2S in the environment. So this is the reservoir for ours. So this H2S can be converted via the process of oxidation. So when H2S is oxidized, it will produce sulfur or inorganic sulfur. When it is further oxidized, it will produce the SO4 2 minus, because it can exist in this SO4 2 minus form. Okay, so this process is called the sulfur oxidation. That can be done via aerobic process, that you can see oxic process, and that can also be done via the anaerobic process. In the aerobic process, for doing this we need thiobacillus bacteria, and for the anaerobic process for the process of anaerobic type we need the purple or green phototropic bacteria, and the presence of them to do this, or some of the chemolithotrophs who can utilize the hydrogen sulfide as their nutritional source to do this process. Okay, now the second thing we are going to talk about is called the sulfate reduction. So the sulfate reduction is the completely opposite step of the sulfate oxidation. So the sulfate reduction means the production of H2S from the sulfate groups, as we can see here. So we can produce the H2S from SO4 2 minus, and that can also be done anaerobically and aerobically. Aerobically, for doing this aerobically we need the desulfuromonas and some of the archaea, and we for anaerobically to do this we can have the desulfovibri or desulfobacter, or the presence of desulfovibri desulfobacter. So the name of them is completely depending upon the presence type of their activity. Like this desulfovibri or desulfobacter, what they are doing, they are just releasing the sulfur, they are just reducing the sulfur from the sulfur's most oxidized state into the sulfur's most reduced state. Okay, now let us talk about the third kind, which is called the sulfur disproportionation. The sulfur disproportionation is called from this inorganic sulfur like S2O32 minus into the H2S. So the production of H2S. So as we know, we have to produce H2S after doing all those things, because we need to set those sulfur back into the environment. And as we know, in the environment we can put the sulfur only as the H2S. That's why we need to produce H2S and put this into the environment. And for doing this, not only we can go from this SO4 to minus stage, but also from the inorganic step where many times sulfur can be stored. So normally it can also be stored at S2O32 minus. So some of those organisms are there who can take out sulfur from there and produce the H2S, and thus they can produce the H2S, and they can reset back this H2S into the environment. Okay, and the example of the such bacteria are Desulfovibrio and some other bacteria. So Desulfovibrio is really important. So they are not only doing the sulfate reduction from sulfate into the H2S, but they are also converting or taking the sulfur from the SO2 S2O3 2 minus into the H2S. Okay, which is called sulfur oxide, actually from the sulfur oxide into H2S. So not from the sulfate but also from the sulfur oxides. Okay, now the fourth kind is called the organic sulfur compound oxidation reduction. So now in all those different cycles we have talked about the normal process and then the organic materials which are related to that, because there are not only the microorganisms present there, but there are different organic materials are present there, like us, like other organisms who depend on this sulfur for many reasons. As we know, sulfur is important for the structures of our protein, because the sulfur is very important to make the structure like cysteine, which helps us to make the disulfide bridge, and in turn the sulfur bridges is very much strong to hold different molecular structure of proteins. So that's why we need a sulfur into some organic materials, so we can store the sulfur into the organic materials, and like CH3SH here and DMSO here. So what we have to do, we have to convert this this sulfur from here and produce H2S, and in turn we can leave the H2S into the environment again and we can complete the whole cycle again. Okay, so we can take CH3SH and we produce H2S and carbon dioxide in the environment, and you can set these things into the environment. And we can also produce DMS from DMSO, which is a part of organic compound, and you can produce DMSO, and in turn we are producing it, we are leaving it into the environment again. So that's how we are converting the sulfur of organic compound into H2S, and we can also do via the process called desulfurylation. Okay, so this desulfurylation process is also can be done by many organisms, as we have seen in case of deamination, which can also a very common process in the nature. So desulfurylation is also a common process in the nature. Many organisms can do these things. They can snap sulfur from the organic compounds and make H2S, which is the reduced form, and set this back into the environment for the reservoir storage. So what we have to do in all these cases we are talking about, you have to take sulfur from the environment as the H2S, we incorporate it into inorganic sulfur and then produce the sulfate or sulfur oxides and utilize them. After the utilization, we have to set this back into the H2S via the process called sulfur compound oxidation reduction or desulfurylation. Now the first step we can see, we have the H2S, which is the reservoir, and we take this H2S and produces the SO4, which is the most oxidized state of sulfur, via production of or inorganic sulfur, and this process is called sulfur oxidation. As we know, it has been carried out by Thiobacillus. Sometimes it can also be carried out by some chemolithotrophs or some purple or green phototrophic bacteria. Now after the production of this sulfate, this is the organic way this is the aerobic way we can produce it. We can do the same via the anaerobic ways or anoxic ways. There are other types of microorganisms there, like purple or green phototrophic bacteria. So we utilize this and produces this sulfate via the anoxic process, but not on the oxic process. Okay, so this kind of things have been done, and this is the only step of oxidation in this whole sulfur cycle. All the other pathways we are going to talk about are reduction processes. Now this is the step we have to talk about. Now we have sulfate, we can incorporate sulfate into organic compounds. It is called the sulfate assimilation. Now you can see, so we have not only have to produce sulfate, because we cannot store sulfur as sulfate inside us, so we need to store them as SH groups of proteins. So we can do this via the assimilation of this sulfur from the sulfate, and this is called the sulfate assimilation into the organic compounds. Now after the assimilation of sulfate, all these things have done. So we have taken the sulfur from the environment and incorporate them into us, inside our cells. Now what we have to do, after doing all the jobs which we need to do using the sulfur, we have to set this sulfur back into the environment, as we can get it from the environment, like H2S. We need to produce H2S again, or hydrogen sulfide again, and set this sulfur back into the environment. Now how can we do this? We can do this via the process and the reverse process, like the first production of you can see from sulfate we can produce the H2S via the process of or inorganic sulfate, which is called the sulfur reduction process. From the sulfur reduction process we can produce this. So this can be anaerobic, this can also be aerobic, so both of the process can be done. So from aerobic situation we can turn the sulfur from the sulfate into the H2S, and the bacteria are useful for that is desulfovibrio, desulfobacter, okay, and we can also have desulfuromonas who are also converting the sulfur into H2S from the sulfate group via the anaerobic process. Now this is a process, but what about the sulfur which is incorporating inside us as the SH group? Now we have to make H2S out of those SH group after we have done the job. So we are doing this via the process of desulfurylation. So it can be carried out by many organisms like us and all the organisms we can found in the earth who live on the earth who live on the earth and who need sulfur as their ingredient. So what they are doing and what we are doing, we are actually taking this SH out and produce H2S or hydrogen sulfide and set this back into the environment. Okay, so we are not doing this regularly because only after the death of these organisms we have a chance, or they have a chance of taking these SH groups, taking the sulfur from the body and produce the H2S gas and set it back into the environment. But still we are doing this. That's how, and that's why the reserve of H2S never being getting down. So it is just remained constant over time and time and time. Okay, so this process is called this desulfurylation. Okay, so that is this thing. And we can also have other process called oxidation and reduction steps to produce H2S from the organic compounds like the proteins we have. So this is the process of sulfur cycle. In remember one thing, this whole sulfur cycle, first thing we have to talk about, we need to accept something from the environment, incorporate them inside us, then finally after doing the job with that compound we need to produce that sulfur compound and set it back into the environment as it is we are taking out. Okay, so as we are taking out as H2S, we need to produce H2S when we are degrading the sulfur on which is present inside us and setting it back as H2S into the environment. Okay, so we are not only have to produce it and state it into the environment, but we need to produce it in the conformation that we are taking it from the environment. Okay, so that is important, and that's all, and I hope that's going to help you. Thank you.